Good evening, everyone. We are in the Zera Shimshon on Parshas Vayeshev. We're going to be doing Os Yud Beis, which is section 12. And in order to understand that section, we're going to look at 5 psukim from our Parsha. And in the Torah, we're in Perek Lamed Tet, and we're going to look at psukim Aleph through He. So I'm going to read those psukim now, and then we'll see how the Zera Shimshon relates to them. Vayeshev hurad Mitzrayma, and Yosef was brought down to Egypt. This is talking about, of course, the Parsha talks about Yosef being sold by his brothers and brought down to Egypt. So he was brought down. Vayikne'ehu Potiphar, and Potiphar purchased him. So Potiphar bought Yosef to be a slave, a servant in his household. Who was Potiphar? So the Torah says, Saris Paro. He was an officer of Paro's, Sar HaTabachim, the chief steward over the cooks or the butchers, Ish Mitzri, an Egyptian man, Miyad HaYishmaelim, and he purchased Yosef from the Yishmaelim who had brought Yosef down, Asher Horiduhu Shama, who had brought Yosef down to Egypt. So that's Pasuk Aleph. Vayehi Hashem es Yosef, and Hashem was with Yosef. Vayehi Ish Matzliach, and he was a successful man, a successful person. Yosef was successful. Vayehi beveis Adonav HaMitzri, and he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. He stayed in Potiphar's house. Vayar Adonav ki Hashem ito, and Yosef's master Potiphar saw that Hashem was with him. V'chol asher hu oseh Hashem matzliach biyado, and everything that he did, that Yosef did, Hashem made successful in his hand. Pasuk Daled, Vayimtze Yosef chen be'enov vayisharei soso. Yosef found favor in his master's eyes, and he served him. Vayafkidehu al beiso, and Potiphar appointed him over his household. V'chol yeshlo nosan biyado, and everything that Potiphar had, he gave over to Yosef to supervise, to handle, to take care of. Vayehi, Pasuk, Vayehi me'az hifkido so beveso, and it was from the time that Potiphar appointed Yosef over his household, va'al kol asher yeshlo, and over everything that he had, vayevarech Hashem es beis hamitzri, Hashem blessed the house of the Egyptian, beglal Yosef, because of Yosef. Vayehi birkas Hashem b'chol asher yeshlo babayis u'basodeh. And the blessing of Hashem was on everything that Potiphar had, both in terms of his own home, his household, uvasada, and in the field, and his agricultural work, and in the field. So Potiphar benefited tremendously and was blessed tremendously in the merit of Yosef being in his household and working for him. So those are the 5 psukim, and now we're going to take a look at what the Zera Shimshon has to say about those psukim. So in the first paragraph, the Zera Shimshon just summarizes the psukim for us. Again, we're in Os Yud Beis, section 12. Pasuk. It says in the pasuk, and these are the psukim that we just read, but they're going to be here in short form. Vayehi Hashem es Yosef, Vayehi Ish Matzliach, Vayehi beveis Adonav HaMitzri, Vayar Adonav v'chulei. So again, the Zera Shimshon is just summarizing the psukim, quoting from the psukim, but leaving out some of the pieces. Hashem was with Yosef, and Yosef was successful, and he was with his master. Vayimtze Yosef chen be'enov, and Yosef found favor in his master's eyes. Vayisharei soso, vayifkedeu al beiso, v'chol yeshlo v'chulei. And Yosef served him, and Potiphar put Yosef over his whole house. Vayihi me'ad hifkido so beveso, and it was from the point that Potiphar appointed him over everything. Vayavarech Hashem es beis hamitzri v'chulei. Hashem blessed the Egyptian. So we saw in the psukim that I read first, we saw everything that the Zera Shimshon just summarized here in a short form. So let's take a look at his questions on the psukim. Yesh ledaktek. We need to examine, and the Zera Shimshon is going to ask 4 questions. Here comes the first one. Mahu shlosha pa'omim vayehi b'pasuk echad. Why does it use the word vayehi 3 times in Pasuk Beis, right? In Pasuk Beis, it said the word Vayehi, and it was 3 different times. And we'll come back to that to see what it means in a moment, what the Zera Shimshon thinks it means in a moment. But that's the first question. V'od kasha, and another question, Shahaya lo lomar vayisharis oso vayimtzu Yosef chen be'enom v'chule. We would think the Zera Shimshon says that the pasuk should have said that first Yosef served Potiphar, and then Yosef found favor in his master's eyes. Shetachilo avad oso, that first he would have to serve him, va'achar kach motza chen be'enom. And afterwards, only after serving him, could his master say, "Oh, I like this guy; he's a good servant." But instead, the pasuk said, "Vayimtza Yosef chen," that Yosef found favor in his master's eyes, and then it said, "Vayesharis oso," and then he served him, which appears to be not in the correct order. It appears to be out of order. Question number 3: Umahu zeh hachen. What is the nature of this favor? What does it mean? Yosef found favor in his master's eyes. What does that mean? That's a very vague word. He found favor. Does it mean that he was a good worker? Does it mean he was loyal? What exactly does it mean that Yosef found favor in his master's eyes? That's question 3. Umahu shechazar hakasuv lomar. And what does it mean that the Torah repeats Vayehi me'az hifkid, and it was from the time that he appointed him over his things, v'chule, etc. V'halo kfar omar vayifkedehu. It had already said in the previous pasuk that Potiphar had appointed Yosef over his household. V'dai hayalo lomar. It would have been sufficient for the Torah to say vayifkedehu al beso, and he appointed Yosef over his household. V'chol yeshlo. Nasan biyodo, and everything that Potiphar had, he gave over to Yosef's supervision. Vayavarech Hashem es beis hamitzri, and Hashem blessed the house of the Mitzri. The Zera Shimshon's point in this 4th question is that the Torah seemingly didn't need to say that Potiphar appointed him twice to be over his household. Why not just say one time? Potiphar appointed him to be over his household, and everything was successful, and Hashem blessed the household of Potiphar because of Yosef. Why does it say twice in both psukim that that Potiphar appointed Yosef to be over the house, over his household and his business? So those are our 4 questions, and as we go through, we'll talk each time the Zera Shimshon answers one. We'll show how he's answering that specific question, and then we'll go back and look at all the psukim and see how the Zera Shimshon learns the psukim with his kind of commentary that he's going to develop now. So we're in the 2nd paragraph. V'isa b'medrash Rabbah. It is stated in the Medrash Rabbah al pasuk vayikne'ehu Potiphar, on a pasuk that we saw, pasuk Aleph, the first pasuk that we read, that after Yosef was brought down to Mitzrayim, he was acquired by Potiphar. So the Medrash Rabbah makes the following comment: Kol ha'avodim chashudim al hagezel. In general, all slaves are suspect on stealing, on robbery. When a person purchases a slave or gets a slave into his household, the general assumption was that the slave would try and steal things if he or she had the chance. Aval zeh, but this slave, meaning Yosef, vayavarech Hashem es beis hamitzri bichlal Yosef. Hashem blessed the house of the Egyptian because of Yosef, meaning instead of Yosef coming in and being like other slaves who take things from the master, Yosef came in and everything prospered for Potiphar. Potiphar benefited financially from Yosef being there, which means Yosef was a unique individual in terms of a slave. He wasn't like the other slaves. Kol ha'avodim chashudim al ha'erva. And the Medrash Rabbah continues, all slaves in general are suspect on sexual immorality. Aval zeh, but this slave, meaning Yosef again, v'lo shama eleha. We find that when Potiphar's wife does everything she can to seduce Yosef, he refuses and he doesn't listen to her. So that shows again that he was unique and he wasn't like the other slaves who would have certainly succumbed or jumped at the opportunity to be with Potiphar's wife. Or would have initiated contact themselves. Instead, Yosef refuses to be seduced by her, and so we see again that, according to the Medrash Rabbah, Yosef was a very unique person as a slave, and Potiphar recognizes. Potiphar saw this about Yosef. V'lochein ad kan lashono, until here is a quote from the Medrash Rabbah. V'lochein, and because of this, or in this vein, Omar HaKosov, the pasuk says, Vayehi Hashem es Yosef. Shahaya Hashem ito. Hashem was with Yosef, And v'im kain, and if so, vadai lo hayachashid al ha'erva. Certainly Yosef was not going to be suspected of sexual impropriety when Hashem was with him. Rashi explains, what does it mean Hashem was with him? That he was constantly quoting Hashem and thanking Hashem. Hashem's name was constantly being used by Yosef. So Potiphar knew this is the kind of person who will not be someone who will be involved in sexual impropriety. Vayehi ish matzliach, and then the pasuk continued and it said he was a successful person. Ve'im kain vadai lo hayachashud al hagezel. If so, he was not suspected on robbery. Meaning, if he was successful and he's prospering and he's bringing things to Potiphar's household, he's benefiting Potiphar's household. Potiphar is gaining financially, and Yosef is successful in everything that he does. That's not the kind of person who sneak around stealing things from his master. Vayehi beis Adonov HaMitzri, and he was in the house of the Egyptian. What does that tell us? She'af al pisha also habayis haya beis Mitzri. And even though it was an Egyptian's household, which means it was full of, obviously, of idolatry and all the different idols and that they used to worship in Egypt, v'lo haya ro'oi lazeh, and therefore, since it was full of idolatry, it wasn't fitting. This house of Potiphar wasn't fitting to be blessed by Hashem. Im kol zeh hayagam shem Hashem, hayagam sham Hashem ito. Even so, that in that place Hashem was with Yosef, and he was successful and he prospered in everything that he did for Potiphar. So this paragraph has answered the Zera Shimshon's first question. Let's go back. The first question was, why do we have one pasuk days, and we'll read it again to make sure that we understand it. Why does it say Vayehi 3 times? So the pasuk reads as follows. Vayehi Hashem es Yosef. Hashem was with Yosef. Vayehi ish matzliach. He was a successful man. Vayehi beveis Adonov HaMitzri, and he was in the house of the Mitzri. So the Zera Shimshon's question was, usually a pasuk starts with 1 Vayehi. Here we've broken up into 3 Vayehi. So his answer is that this pasuk, right from the start of Yosef becoming an Eved in the house of Potiphar, the Torah is testifying, so to speak. The Torah is asserting and stating for us that Yosef was unique in 3 ways, different from all other avodim, from other slaves that Potiphar and anyone else, any other masters of slaves would expect to have. And what are the 3 ways? And each one is its own Vayehi, but they're put together because they're all related to this one theme of showing Yosef's uniqueness. The first Vayehi is that Yosef always talked to Hashem, and therefore Potiphar knew this is a person I don't have to suspect of erva, of sexual immorality. And then Yosef was successful and everything prospered, and Potiphar benefited from his work, and therefore Potiphar didn't have to be worried about losing things and Yosef stealing things. Vayehi beveis Adonov HaMitzri, and then the Torah says, and lastly, even though this was an Egyptian house full of idolatry, the fact that Yosef was there means that Hashem was with Yosef, and this brought blessings, as the following psukim laid out more explicitly. This brought tremendous blessing and prosperity to Potiphar's home. So that's the Zera Shimshon's understanding of why there's 3 Vayehis in that pasuk. The Torah wants to give us 3 separate facts, but put them all together in one pasuk to explain Yosef's uniqueness. That again, that Potiphar, even though Potiphar had no concept beforehand of believing in Hashem or understanding what it meant to be an Eved Hashem, he now sees from Yosef how special Yosef is and how it's very unique to have a person like this in his home as his Eved. Continuing at the bottom of the first column. Ukeshehirgish Adonov shehashem hayito dafka. And when Yosef's master felt or understood, recognized that Hashem was with Yosef specifically, what that dafka means is that Potiphar might have thought, oh, it's a coincidence that I hired this guy to be my Eved, I bought him, I purchased him, and then everything picked up and I'm prospering. He might have thought there was no connection between the 2 things. But Zera Shimshon saying, no, Potiphar realized and recognized that these blessings that were coming to him were coming through Yosef. And Potiphar saw that Yosef was successful in everything he did, whether it was for himself or whether it was for other people. Whatever Yosef was involved in was immediately successful and prospered. Az hikir shehi kemo skula sheyesh lo Yosef. Potiphar realized that Yosef had a certain unique chosenness or specialness. This word segula, he realized that Yosef had a real special quality and a special uniqueness about him. Similar to someone who is an expert in writing amulets. The concept being that if someone has the knowledge and the skills to write Kabbalistic amulets, that can bring a blessing to someone who wears it, or it can bring a cure, it can benefit them and bring blessings from Hashem for them. So in a similar way, Potiphar figured out that Yosef himself, his presence in his house was like having a Kabbalistic amulet. It was like having a talisman. It was like having something special and spiritual in his house that brought blessings from Hashem into his house. And he realized that was something unique about Yosef. And therefore, Motza Chen, top of the second column, Motza Yosef Chen be'enav. This is what it means that Yosef found favor in his eyes. So this answers that question. What did it mean Yosef found favor? The Zera Shimshon wanted to know what was the nature of it. The nature of it was that Potiphar himself, again, an idolater, recognized that Yosef was being blessed in a very special way, and having Yosef, the presence of Yosef in his household, would mean that he would benefit. Only after Potiphar recognized this fact, then he said to Yosef, I want you to serve me personally, meaning that Yosef was originally bought and could have been a slave who worked in the field, a field hand. He would have been a slave who had nothing to do with Potiphar directly. But once Potiphar saw that Yosef had this special quality and this special blessings, brought special blessings from Hashem, then Motzachain, then he found favor in his master's eyes, again, as this unique spiritual personage. And then it says, Potiphar said, Vayeshev so. Then Potiphar said to Yosef, I want you to serve me personally. In order that the success that Yosef brought originally to the household will extend to everything Potiphar was directly involved in. Because if Yosef is serving him directly, then that will bring success to his specific individual endeavors. The lo daizeh, and not only this, ela af, but even more so, vayifgadehu al beso. He then appointed Yosef over his household, his whole house, not just to be his personal aide, his personal assistant, but he appointed Yosef over the entire household. Kedei shetishra habracha af beveso bizchuso shel Yosef, in order that the bracha should spread and dwell in the entire household in the merit of Yosef. V'chein haya, and that's the way it happened. That's exactly what happened. Shemiyad shehifkid oso bebeso, hirgish nishtalcha habracha bebeso. As soon as he appointed Yosef over everything, he saw that the blessing had spread to everything that he was involved in. V'zehu, and this is what it means when it repeats, vayihi me'az hifkid oso, from the time that Potiphar appointed him, etc. So that last piece answers the fourth question, which is, why did the Torah repeat the idea of Potiphar appointing Yosef over the household? And the Zera Shimshon is saying the first time it stated it was telling us what Potiphar's aspiration was. Potiphar hoped that if he appointed Yosef over everything that he was involved with, then the same blessing that Yosef brought individually could extend, and to Potiphar could now extend to the whole household and to all of everything he was involved in. Then the second pasuk says, verifies, yes, that's exactly what happened. The Torah repeats that Potiphar appointed him over everything, because it was only then, after Potiphar appointed him over everything, that the blessing spread to all of his personal and business ventures. So we see it's kind of a step-by-step process that the Psukim is telling us. Step one was that Potiphar recognized Yosef's very special qualities and that he wasn't to be treated like other avadim, other slaves. And then he saw that everything that Yosef was involved in was being blessed. Then he made Yosef his personal assistant. That's where it says, Vayeshev so. And then he said, look, everything you're doing for me, I now want you to do for everyone in the household. Take over everything. Take over all my personal household involvement, and take over everything in my business affairs, because Potiphar realized that whatever Yosef touched, so to speak, turned to gold. Whatever he put Yosef in charge of prospered tremendously and was very successful because of Yosef's special ability to bring blessings from Hashem. So the Zera Shimshon at this point has answered his 4 questions, and now he wants to take the ideas that he's developed and apply them to a Gemara that he's going to discuss with us right now in the next paragraph. Let's take a look at that Gemara in Maseches Sanhedrin coming up in the 2nd paragraph in the 2nd column. Ubazeh Yuvan, and through these ideas we can understand Maida Amrina B'Perek Daled de Sanhedrin, what Chazal teach us in the 4th parak of Masechet Sanhedrin. Omer Rabbi Yitzchak. Rabbi Yitzchak said, Hachi Omar lo Achav lo Ovadia. This coming up is what Achav said to Ovadia. Now we actually last week in our Zera Shimshon discussion, we actually looked at this same Gemara. So just to remind everyone, Achav was a very, very evil and wicked king who tried to wipe out the prophets of Hashem and tried to wipe out service of Hashem and convince the Jewish people to worship the idols of Baal. And Ovadia was a servant in Achav's palace, but he was a God-fearing person and actually a Navi in his own right. We know there's Sefer Ovadia in the Treyasar, which was actually the Haftorah that was read in this Shabbos that just passed. So Ovadia was an incredibly person on an incredibly high madrega and close to Hashem, but somehow it evolved that he was a steward in the palace under Achav, this terrible, wicked Russia. And when I say somehow it evolved, obviously this was the will of Hashem because it put Ovadia in a position to mitigate some of the terrible evil decrees that Achav made. And as we discussed last week, Ovadia personally took and found 100 prophets and saved them and rescued them from Achav and Izebel and hid them and fed them. And so he was able to do special things because of his position in the palace. But this Gemara is now talking about a conversation that Achav had with Ovadia that went as follows. Achav said to Ovadia, Yaakov Ksiv, regarding the patriarch Yaakov Avinu, it's written, Nichashti vayavarcheni Hashem biglaglecha. That Lavan said to Yaakov, I have, through my divination, seen that Hashem has blessed me through you, because of you. So Lavan realized that he prospered because of Yaakov's presence in his household, and he told Yaakov, I have figured out that I'm being blessed because of your presence here. I'm being blessed by Hashem because of your presence here. Uva Yosef, and regarding Yosef Ksiv, it's also written, Vayevarech Hashem es beis hamitzri biglal Yosef, that Potiphar's house, as we just saw in our psukim, was blessed because of Yosef. So Achav starts off by saying, I'm going to tell you, Ovadia, about 2 situations in the Torah where people's houses were blessed because of the presence of a tzaddik, of a righteous person in their household. Because of Yaakov, Lavan's household was blessed, and because of Yosef, Potiphar's household was blessed. Now Achav continued, Uvese dahahu gavra, but the house of this man, Achav, meaning referring to himself, my house, lo kamivarech, it has not been blessed. My house, Achav says, has not been blessed, even though you, Ovadia, are a servant and you're here. Shema lo yore Elokim hu. Perhaps he, meaning Ovadia, is not such a God-fearing man. So this is a good illustration of the arrogance and the blindness of a Russia. Here's Achav, who is such a wicked man, and he's claiming that the reason Hashem isn't blessing his household is because of Ovadia isn't righteous enough. You know, it didn't dawn on him that maybe he was such a wicked man that of course Hashem isn't going to bless him. Instead, he's saying, Ovadia, it's your fault. If you were a true tzaddik, then my house would be blessed, just like Lavan's house was blessed and just like Potiphar's house was blessed. So it must be your fault. What happened? Yotzes Abaskol, a heavenly voice came out, the Omra, and it said, the Ovadia Haya Yore Es Hashem Me'od. Ovadia was a truly God-fearing person, Ma'od, very much. He was very much a God-fearing person, according to the Baskol. Ubeso shel Achav eino mizuman lebracha. And it is the household of Achav that is not fitting to receive the blessing. So the Baskol was telling Achav, you're wrong. It's not a problem with Ovadia. He's an exceedingly God-fearing person, it is you, Achav, and your household that Hashem cannot possibly bless because of your activities and the activities of Izevel, Achav's wife, and of their household. Ad Kan, until here is the quote from the Gemara in the fourth parak in Masechah Sanhedrin. So the Zera Shimshon has a question on this Gemara. V'kosha, this is a little difficult. Eich yitochen shebeis hamitzri yiyeh mezuma lebracha yoser mibeso shel Achav. How can it be that Potiphar's home was more fitting and more able to receive blessings than the household of Achav? In other words, even though Achav was truly a wicked, wicked person, Potiphar himself was an idolater a complete idolater, had no connection to anything that we would consider kadosh or connected to Hashem in any way. So the Zera Shimshon's question is, it's actually true. He's saying Achav made a good point. Why is it that Potiphar's house was blessed and Laban's house was blessed, even though they were such bad people, when Achav's house wasn't blessed, even though Ovadia, this very righteous man, was there? So the Zera Shimshon saying that is actually a question that we need to answer. So let's continue and hear the answer. Yesh lomar, and we can say, Dila olam af beves hamitzri lo hayasashora bracha, that for sure, in actuality, the house of Potiphar the Egyptian would never have been able to contain the blessings that it did. Ilav sha'adonov mosar leYosef kol ma sheyesh lo. If it wasn't for the fact that his master Potiphar gave over to Yosef everything that he had. Ki'ilu hu adon, as if Yosef was the real master, umoshel bakol, and was the one who was the controller and the ruler over the household. So the Zera Shimshon is telling us there's a little bit of a secret here that we have to be sensitive to. The blessings from Hashem would not have taken over and spread in Potiphar's household if it wasn't for the fact that Potiphar put Yosef in charge of everything. If Yosef was just there would have been a certain level of blessing. As we saw, the Torah told us, right, when Yosef first came, he was Ish Matzliach. He was successful, and Potiphar saw that things were prospering. But it wasn't Potiphar turned everything over to Yosef to the degree that Hashem was able to say, I can bring blessing into this home, and on these people, because it's Yosef who has been put completely in charge. That's what allowed the blessings to come in. It's no longer Potiphar's household, so to speak. It is the household of Yosef who's running everything and controlling everything. Aval be'Ovadia im Achav lo haya efshar zeh. However, in the case of Ovadia, the servant of Achav, this was not possible. Shahare Achav haya melech. Achav was a king. Ubeso hayanikra beis hamelech, and his house wasn't just any old house. It wasn't just a random family. It was the king's house. It was the royal palace. The hamalchus shiur la'atzmo. In the kingship itself, Achav, of course, kept for himself. He didn't turn to Ovadia and say, Ovadia, since you're such a righteous man, I'm going to give everything over to you. I'm going to make it as if you're the king and you control everything. He couldn't do that. He was the king. And so it's not similar to the cases that the Gemara quoted of Potiphar and Lavan. They completely gave up thinking about and watching over their property and their homes after each of them respectively gave over things, Lavan to Yaakov and Potiphar to Yosef. So in those two cases, Hashem was able, so to speak, to bless the household of Potiphar and the household of Lavan, because those two individuals had given things over completely to tzaddikim, either to Yaakov or to Yosef. But in the case of Ovadia, that was never the case. He was a servant in the household of Achav, and that was it. He was never placed in control, and therefore Hashem could not bless things in the household of Achav. Ubozeh, and through this understanding, Nami Novo Laseis Tam, Yosef lahashiv le'eshes Potiphar. We now understand in a deeper way what it is that Yosef meant when he responded to the wife of Potiphar. Hein Adoni lo yoda iti ma v'chule. Yosef said to the wife of Potiphar, my master has given everything over to me, and he doesn't even know what's going on. He's not watching anything. He's given it all over to me. What does this mean? What was the significance of that? This is what we've been saying all along. Klomar, Hine Adoni Mosar Li Hakol. Behold, my master, meaning Potiphar, has given over to me everything. Kedesha Tochul Alav Habracha, in order that blessing will fall from Hashem on the household. V'lamazeh mibnei sheHashem iti. And why is the blessing coming? Because Hashem is with me. So there was a tremendous, Yosef was saying there was a tremendous Kiddush Hashem here, that even an idolater like Potiphar recognized that it was Yosef's connection to Hashem that brought special blessings to his household. And therefore, how could, Yosef says, how could I do hara hagedola hazos, this very evil thing of betraying Potiphar's trust and being with Ashes Potiphar, with the wife of Potiphar, v'chatasi lelokim. And I will be doing a great sin to Hashem, not just a sin of immorality, but a sin of chilul Hashem, a sin of saying Potiphar recognized Hashem and his role in blessing his household through Yosef. And now if Yosef turns around and agreed to be with Ashes Potiphar, it would be tearing down everything that had been built up, the trust and the recognition of Hashem's presence in the household that brought the blessings and the prosperity. So what we see, just to sum up and kind of put everything in perspective, is that the Zera Shimshon started with looking at the story when Yosef first came to that the Torah tells us about Yosef coming to Potiphar's home, and he had 4 questions on the psukim there, and he went step by step to answer those questions. And once he developed his theme of Potiphar recognizing Yosef's specialness and Matzachain, and realizing that Yosef was a very unique spiritual personality who had a connection with Hashem that brought prosperity into his household, Potiphar then put Yosef in charge of everything in order to spread the blessings, and that's in fact what happened. And then the Zera Shimshon said that actually makes it problematic when we look at the Gemara in Sanhedrin, because that happened for Potiphar, but it didn't happen for Achav, which Achav himself realized according to the Gemara in Sanhedrin. And so then the Zera Shimshon was able to answer that question, that the essential step for a tzaddik to be able to bring blessing into a household is for the tzaddik to be put in charge of the things in the household, as Yaakov was done in Lavan's house, in terms of Lavan saying, you take all of my sheep, take all of my flock and take care of them and go off on your own, and I won't have anything to do with it. You run everything. And in terms of the way Potiphar handled things with Yosef, this enabled Hashem, so to speak, to bring complete blessing into these households, which was not the case with Achav, the Rasha, and Ovadia, the tzaddik, but limited into what Ovadia was able to do in that situation. Yashar koach to everyone for joining us tonight. We look